Tonight, the regional health system back on the agenda, locals pleading for change and calls to speed up South Australian highway upgrades.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Hello everyone. Frustration around regional South Australia's healthcare system has reached boiling point, with residents reiterating calls for a total overhaul. The state government promising to address the issue with increased funding and resources.
Back on the agenda and front of mind, regional South Australia's healthcare system discussed with the state premier. Dozens of locals raised the issue around mental health, desperate to get some answers and much needed solutions.
There's always a need, and there always has been a need. There's always suicide in communities.
Regional healthcare dominated yesterday's public forum during the premier's visit to the Eyre Peninsula. The small town of Kimber has long suffered without a doctor, the town's mayor raising the issue.
Conditions are certainly causing difficulties right across the peninsula, and we need more support for mental health.
One program highlighted in the meeting was the Rural Community Counselling Service, a project which offered mental health support for rural communities but was shut down after 3 years of operation.
The need for the program was only elevating, not decreasing.
Michael Hancock was an employee with the service and says it saved countless lives.
Our role was to drive around and meet the farmers and the business owners and the community members at their table, and mainly focused at primary prevention and early intervention.
Now encouraging the government to start it back up.
If the government has got the finances for it, which I think they would have, it would be a very good area to put it because of the effectiveness of it.
Michael says the devastating drought across the Eyre Peninsula is one of the worst in the country, putting physical and mental pressure on hundreds of farmers.
Driving through Cow is similar to driving through areas like Mildura and into the New South Wales area. It's just destruction from one end to the other.
The demand for those services has increased. Obviously, when we have a drought or dry seasonal conditions, it impacts farms, farm businesses, farm families.
The government says it's working to combat the issue, with the rural medical workforce plan set to bring in more healthcare professionals to isolated areas.
We've committed to rural generalism, and we'll be rolling out initiatives to put in place the components of the pipeline for rural generalist practice.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Tourism growth is firmly on the agenda for Broken Hill, with tourist operators gathering today to discuss how to further grow the industry. The sector is worth millions of dollars to the local economy, and a fresh push is hoped to attract more international visitors.
Over a glass of orange juice, the Silver City's tourism operators and businesses discussing the industry and its future.
Working together to make sure that our guests to the city have a brilliant experience.
The Broken Hill business community joining together this morning to talk tourism. The breakfast highlighting the importance of tourism to the city and how much money visitors inject into the local coffers.
Broken Hill has close to 585 jobs that are actually involved with tourism, with close to 215 businesses that are tourism related. So tourism to Broken Hill economy represents $98 million. So it's a huge industry.
For those who rely so much on people visiting the town and making purchases, the talk insightful.
It's fantastic to see how much tourism contributes to the town, and especially how much different businesses, you don't necessarily think that you are in the tourism market, but there's a certain flow-on effect.
As the city looks to draw more international visitors following a recent webinar in Germany where the city was showed off to over 90 travel agents, organisers want the meetings to be more often.
Once a month we're looking to hold business breakfasts and in the morning, and bring about a number of speakers to actually help businesses learn and be educated.
The community are also invited to 2 upcoming workshops that focus on using video and photography to support their business. For more information, visit the Far West BEC Business Facebook page.
You always take something out of these things, and something that you can use in your own business, so I think they're very beneficial.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Horrocks Highway has been recognised as one of the state's worst roads in a recent RAA Risky Road survey. More than 1,000 road users completed the survey, nominating a road or intersection which needs repair or a major upgrade. The highway is among a long list of notorious roundabouts and roads from across the region.
It's a very busy road. It carries a lot of traffic to the mid-north of the state, so a very important corridor, and that's why the work done on this corridor as soon as possible is really important.
The state government have put in conjunction with the federal government, $55 million, but my frustration is at this particular point there's been no work done on the starting of the rehabilitating the Horrocks Highway.
There were 107 casualty crashes along Horrocks Highway between 2014 to 2018, resulting in 156 injuries and 6 deaths. Still to come tonight, Whalers Rotary Club is feeling the pinch from the snapper ban and tips on how to improve cyber safety. Welcome back. The Whalers Rotary Club has updated the Tourist Information Board on the Augusta Highway in an attempt to promote regional businesses to travellers. The advertising now a major part of the club's fundraising, helping support ongoing volunteer work within the community.
The popular tourist signboard that's been around since the 1980s finally receiving a makeover. The Whalers Rotary Club doing its part to give back.
All the money that we raise as a club, all goes back, most of it all goes back into the community.
The money raised will go towards sending 2 children to the Adelaide Zoo Christmas party, sponsor 2 children in the Rotary Youth Program of Enrichment, as well as help other community clubs around town.
It's classed as a fundraising for the club because we don't have a lot of fundraisers anymore because we don't do the snapper comp anymore.
A much needed project after its popular yearly snapper competition was cancelled due to the region's ban.
It was very hard on the club. That was one of our main fundraisers and that went on for many years. Yes, it took out a major amount of money from our club.
The club has spent the past 18 months chasing a range of businesses to feature on the new sign. It now has 6 from Port Augusta and 6 from Whyalla, including businesses from caravan parks, car dealerships, outback community centres, camping supply stores and tyre shops. If you're travelling on the Port Augusta Highway en route to Whyalla and it's safe to, stop and take a look at the new billboard signs near the tanks. With one spot still available, club members are encouraging local businesses to get on board and help those in need. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Pirie residents have been warned of the latest online scams at a community forum held by Cybercrime Police. The seminar advising internet users on the best way to stay safe online.
The internet's an important tool that's sometimes impossible to switch off.
People's banking's online, people's birth certificates, driver's licences are all online now and available. So internet security is vital to keep ourselves protected and keep our money in our hands.
This forum touching on social media, showcasing programs to present to students, encouraging them to keep safe online.
Packages targeting all age groups from primary schools, high schools and the parents of those children. This one specifically was about safety whilst using social media applications.
Police warning scammers target the vulnerable with online scams.
It's mainly young persons and the elderly which are vulnerable to these type of scams.
From email to iTunes scams, no stone is left unturned. They warn many scammers try to build a relationship with their victim.
Between the individual and the scammer, and then it will inevitably end in the request for money. So it's a really popular scam.
Also, a current scam police warn about is a coronavirus alert circling on social media.
If one were to click on that link, it would contain a virus or malicious software which would do a number of things potentially, but compromise your computer system and your online safety.
There is more help available with a number of safe avenues to access information on preventing scams and staying safe online.
Cyber.gov.au is an excellent resource, and that's a place to report cyber offences.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Police are asking residents to check any vacant properties they may have as the search for missing Cleve man Daryl Norris continues. The 59-year-old was last seen at his home around 8:30 on Tuesday night last week, wearing brown cargo shorts and a t-shirt. He's described as Caucasian, 183 centimetres tall with a slim build and blue eyes and brown-grey hair, and walks with a limp. Police and family hold fears for his welfare as Mr Norris suffers from a medical condition. Anyone with any information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. Broken Hill locals are being invited to have their say on the future of the Silver City. The suggestions, ideas and feedback provided to the City Council set to form its community strategic plan.
Have your say, it's your Broken Hill 2040.
It is a massive opportunity for the people of the city, the people who actually know what it is they want their city to look like in 2040.
City Council gearing up to start public consultation for the Community Strategic Plan, a document bringing together local thoughts and ideas about what the city should be focusing on in the coming years. Council just the facilitator.
We can't inform the plan. We are entirely reliant on the community to tell us what they want the city to look like in the future.
Locals excited to give feedback and get involved in the future of their town.
I would really like to see the quality of the road improved in the main street, and I would really like more disabled access.
The roads definitely need a bit of work. There's been people graffitiing where the bumps are and stuff like that.
I reckon even more kind of arts, like sculptures, outdoor artworks would be pretty nice to go through, just to kind of solidify its status as like an art town.
Council says ideas can be any size.
It is a strategic plan, so we would like people thinking sort of the big picture, you know, some major changes they would like to see for the city in the future.
Improving facilities to support the city's sport community, another suggestion.
We go to some small towns like Port Augusta, Whyalla, Port Pirie. They have some amazing complexes. Port Augusta actually has a multi-million-dollar complex. I think it's something that Broken Hill would definitely benefit from.
Council will hold several consultation sessions with the community heading into March. More details about the sessions can be found on Council's website.
There's a lot of people that want stuff done in this town, and I think they should step up and say it.
The more people that can get on board and have their opinions heard, the better we can make Broken Hill.
Let the locals be heard. It is our town after all.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us, still to come after the break. Lovebirds unite for the most romantic day of the year and a new idea to support locals and drive up Broken Hill's economy. Hello again. Thousands of love-struck couples are tipped to spend up big in the lead up to Valentine's Day. Florists and restaurants in Port Lincoln have been run off their feet as last-minute bookings come flooding in.
Love is in the air. Valentine's Day is fast approaching. It's one of the busiest times of the year for florists, with many last-minute shoppers snapping up flowers while they can.
It has been absolutely crazy. Lots of people online orders, but we will be having lots more. This is just a start.
The romantic day tugging at heartstrings, with many going the extra effort to make the day perfect. Flowers, chocolates and dining out ranked as some of the most popular choices for how people will spend the day.
People like the traditional roses, but we're trying to get people out of the traditional and into some more funky, a lot of gift boxes, but mainly flowers of course, even adding some beers to flowers.
Staff at Port Lincoln's famed Line and Label restaurant prepared to be run off their feet with a booked-out Valentine's Day dinner.
Chef's putting together a delicious degustation menu so people can actually choose that 5-course chef selection. Otherwise, we've got our normal a la carte menu, which is filled with absolutely delicious produce from all around Eyre Peninsula and our produce gardens.
Gardeners and kitchen staff working around the clock to make sure they're ready on time. But the special day doesn't have to break the bank, with cheaper options to spoil your loved one also on the menu.
All sorts of other things that people can do for Valentine's Day. Come and buy some Peter Tickle wines or a gift voucher.
It's expected lovebirds and the love struck will spend up big in the lead up to Valentine's Day, with more than $1 billion set to be injected into the national economy. That's a lot of roses.
So we'll certainly have hundreds of people up here over the next few romantic days.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Lifeline Broken Hill is hoping to seek more funding to help families doing it tough in drought-stricken areas. A recent donation from supermarket chain Woolworths, used in the form of gift cards, were given to Lifeline Broken Hill to support people in communities who may be struggling.
It's one of the good things about working with Lifeline is you're able to gift something back into the community. And it's a feel-good thing, but you know that it is going to a good cause.
Lifeline hopes to make the donations an annual initiative. They're an organisation supporting those in need. Now, Port Pirie's Food Hub has been officially recognised on a state level. The Health Minister congratulating their work in person, ensuring their community support continues for the foreseeable future.
This jam-packed room, a tribute to these volunteers, now receiving this statewide honour.
Obviously, health played a huge department, Environmental Health Centre played a huge part in it, and all of our volunteers here played a massive part in it.
Port Pirie's Food Hub, operated by United Country SA, working hard on cooking classes and food packs. The Health Minister touching down in Port Pirie yesterday, congratulating those involved.
A very dynamic project, one that engaged the community, brought a whole range of community stakeholders in to respond to community needs. That's why it won the state award.
The Minister welcoming the centre's hard work, saying it's not easy for everyone to eat healthy.
People from lower socioeconomic backgrounds often have greater health challenges than other South Australians. So to have an organisation like United Country backing up the clients to make sure that the food is also healthy.
Staff and volunteers say the work wasn't easy, with many hours put into the program, but definitely worth it.
It involved 12 months' work and involved lots of partnerships with other agencies throughout Port Pirie.
Those agencies include supermarkets who donate these second-hand goods, staff continuing to work on healthy eating programs in 2020.
What we wanted to gain out of the award was to have sustainability around this, and that's how the dietetic students assisted us with the meal packs. That will continue to happen, and TLAP will help us with the printing on that.
The state government is encouraging other regional communities to get on board.
The Food Hub here at Port Pirie will continue to supply people's needs in terms of food security, in terms of affordable food, but also make sure that we back them up to make sure that what they can afford is also good for them.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break, this week's Fuel Watch, and we'll have the weather with Britt. Welcome back. Time now for a look at how things are shaping up when we head to the Bowser. Here's Patrick Reinke with this week's Fuel Watch.
Another good week for our local petrol prices. Most of the averages are still on the way down. Starting with unleaded, and Whyalla is doing great, the best in the Spencer Gulf. The Steel City has dropped a cent and is now on $1.40 a litre. Port Pirie and Kadina are not too far behind, hovering in those mid-140s. Port Augusta is the most expensive on the board, but on the way down. Port Lincoln also seeing green at $1.51. Here in Broken Hill, the price is an even $1.50, not too bad. In the SA capital, Adelaide has enjoyed a big drop in its prices. Motorists down there only paying $1.35. Turning over to diesel now, and it's a good sight to see, no red on the board. Port Lincoln, Whyalla and Port Augusta are all down a cent or so. Port Pirie and Whyalla share the same price. Kadina is a little cheaper, coming in at around $1.47. Broken Hill is also down a cent, but still the most expensive on the board. Silver City drivers forking out $1.54 a litre. In Adelaide, the price is down by about 2 cents. Finishing off with a look at auto gas, a pretty quiet week. The only movers, Port Pirie up to 93 cents, Adelaide down to 87. Whyalla is also on 93, Port Lincoln a cent less. The most expensive are Kadina and Port Augusta. Broken Hill not too far behind on 98. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded auto gas or diesel for cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Now for a look at what's happening in the weather, here's Britt Aylan.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. We saw mostly sunny conditions about the region today. 32 the high at Broken Hill, 31 at Port Augusta and Port Pirie, Whyalla 28, Port Lincoln a little cloudier and 24. Taking a look now at today's satellite images, mostly clear under a ridge of high pressure with low cloud about coastal areas. Tomorrow, southeasterly winds on the Gulf waters at 15 to 20 knots with seas around 1 metre. Sunrise at 6:45. Warm and mostly sunny conditions coming our way. Port Augusta, Woodna and Corn all looking at tops of 36 degrees. Broken Hill 34, Port Pirie and Clare 33, Whyalla and Kadina 31, Cleve 30, Coffin Bay 28, Port Lincoln 26. Continuing through the week, cloudy conditions expected at Port Lincoln on Friday, ahead of a partly cloudy weekend. Tops in the mid-20s. Cleve, fine on Friday, a little cloudier on Saturday. Woodna, maximums in the early 30s, remaining partly cloudy Friday and into the weekend. Whyalla and Port Augusta both fine and partly cloudy Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Similar conditions forecast for Kadina with a cloudy day on Saturday, tops in the late 20s. A partly cloudy end to the week at Port Pirie and Clare, both with fairly consistent maximums in the late 20s. Broken Hill fine on Friday, bright and sunny through the weekend. And Louise, that's today's weather.
Lovely. Thank you for that, Britt. And that's your local news this Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us today. We'll have updates later, but until then, have a lovely evening. Good night.